Okay, I have 4 o'clock. Let's call the Isabella County Board of Commissioners work session, electronic meeting to order for April 6, 2021. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
the republic,
and to the republic
one nation,
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let's see, who do we have out there? We have Mindy, or is it Brenda tonight?
Brenda.
Deputy Clerk Young, please. Brenda. Yep, go ahead.
Commissioner Hutchinson.
Present, reporting from my home in Nottawa Township, Isabella County.
Commissioner Engler.
Here, participating from my home in Deerfield Township, Isabella County, Michigan.
Commissioner Jelazinski.
Present, participating from my home in Chippewa Township, Isabella County, Michigan.
Commissioner Horton.
Present, participating from my home in Union Township, Isabella County.
Commissioner Moreno.
Here, participating from my home in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Isabella County.
Commissioner Sweeney.
Present, attending remotely from my home in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Isabella County.
Commissioner Holt.
Present and attending remotely from my home in the city of Mount Pleasant, Isabella County.
All present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk Young. Next up, approval of the agenda. Under general public comments, we have nothing yet, but we will probably. Presentations and special reports. We have the Michigan State University Extension MSUE 2020 annual report. Nothing under appointments to boards and commission committee reports. Finance and Administration Committee.
Finance and Administration is all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next up, under B, Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
Criminal Justice and Final County Affairs Committee is all set, Mr. Chairman.
I see nothing under Human Resources and Public Works, nothing under Intergovernmental Affairs, nothing under Administrator Controller, no unfinished business, no new business, general public comments, announcements. We will go into a closed session at the end, and then after that, we'll come out and do an adjournment. Anybody have anything to add? Hearing and seeing none, can I get a motion and a support for the agenda, please?
So moved.
Jelazinski.
We have a motion and support for the approval of the agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. We now have an agenda. Next up, general public comments. Nicole?
We do have one unknown caller in the meeting at this time, Mr. Chairman. This would be the time where they would press *9 on their telephone keypad if they wish to speak. I do see their hand raised, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, if you bring them in, please.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask them to unmute. Caller, you would press *6 to unmute.
Anybody that's calling in, just a reminder, the comments will be limited to 3 minutes or less, and we'll go from there.
They should be ready for you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, go ahead. Please state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes, please.
Hi, my name is Teresa Turner. I'm at 608 South Kinney Street in Mount Pleasant. I'm a member of League of Women Voters, Mount Pleasant area. My comment today concerns the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission. As you know, the commission is a result of the passage of Proposition 2 in 2018, effectively ended gerrymandering in our state. One of the top priorities of the Redistricting Commission is to draw district lines that reflect the state's diverse population and communities of interest. Communities of interest are geographically clustered groups with common legislative and community concerns that desire cohesive representation in the legislature or Congress. Once these communities identify themselves, they may testify before the Redistricting Commission. The commission has set a schedule of 16 public hearings around the state so that communities of interest may testify. The League of Women Voters and other statewide organizations are aiding potential communities of interest prepare to testify. Our league is seeking the county commission's help in identifying communities of interest within the county. We will present more specific information about the commission and its work at a virtual town hall hosted by the Isabella County Commission on Aging on April 14th at 7 p.m. You may register for the town hall by emailing mjerome@isabellacounty.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. All right, Nicole, do we have anybody else?
There is no one else at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, at this time, I will close the public comment, move on to presentations and special reports. Sherry, I see you're there somewhere. I got to find you on my little Hollywood Squares thing here. There you are.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. Good. Go ahead. We got your annual report, the 2020 annual
I
report.
do. I have my annual report, and as usual, I have a little team with me, and you can see that they're on the Hollywood Squares also. And I'm really glad that they've joined me, just in case you have those questions that I can't answer, and if you want to have any more information than what I can provide. But I'm going to go ahead. I know you all got a copy of the annual report, and I also put a 20-slide presentation together for you that I promise I'll go over pretty quickly, but I think it really helps bring a little bit more life to what you have in the written format there. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And hopefully now you're looking at the full report.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So before we get started into the actual annual report, I'm going to just review a little bit about who we are and what our mission is. Our mission is to help people improve their lives through an educational process that applies knowledge to critical issues, needs, and opportunities. We have over 600 staff members across the state, both on campus and out in the field, and we have a presence in all of Michigan's counties, and we have done that for over 100 years. We provide information, education in 4 critical areas: agriculture and agribusiness, children and youth, health and nutrition, and community, food, and environment. Cooperative Extension always tells a story about the 3-legged stools because we get our funding sources from federal investment, our state investment, and our local or county investment. But of course, what's more stable than a 3-legged stool is a 4-legged stool. So over the years, we have tried really hard to increase the rest of our funding portfolio through community partners and funders and grants. So if you take a look at the pie chart that represents our entire statewide organization's budget, it really breaks it down into different pieces. This bright green piece is our state appropriations, and then the dark green piece is our grants. And ever since 2019, that grant portion has gotten larger than our state appropriations, which is really neat. Michigan State University Extension actually pulls in a larger amount of grants, I believe, than any other extension service in the country. The other thing that I think is noteworthy here for commissioners is the gray section, which is the county investments across the state. That's at approximately 16% now, and you can see what a really important piece of the pie that local funding is, and it allows us to have an extension presence in Isabella County. Across the state, administratively, we're broken up into 14 districts. And you can see Isabella County is in the southern tier of District 6, which starts at the top with Wexford and Missaukee County, covers Osceola, Clare, Gladwin, and Mecosta as well. So going into the annual report, I hope you've had a chance to take a look at it. I will tell you that when I started to think about annual reports for 2020, my brain just kind of went crazy. I couldn't imagine how to do it because 2020 was such an odd year. And what I ended up doing was asking the staff to think about, we all know that, excuse my language, but 2020 really sucked, right? It was awful in many ways. But there were also some really good things about 2020. And so I asked each one of them to think about some of those successes that they had during this past year. And and then just tell that story. And so within that report, you have some of those stories. And I think those are the things that we're really choosing to focus on. Immediately, once the pandemic hit in March of 2020, we were able to go virtual and put most of all of our programming really into online formats. Some of them were, some of it took a little bit longer than others, but we really had the technology to kind of dive right into that. 3 of the most popular programs that were held last year across the state included Cabin Fever Conversations, which was a weekly discussion about gardening, because during the pandemic, gardening increased across the state. Another one, we had over 500 visitors statewide on those Zoom webinars. And it was so popular that we've decided to do it again this year. The same thing happened with Adulting 101. This was really a program that was being developed in Clare County for youth in Clare County to teach those seniors that were leaving high school and going on to college or out in the workforce, life skills on how to become adults. Then the pandemic hit, and so we knew we had to take it to a virtual format, and we advertised it over the internet, and it went viral. We had 3,000 people wanting to take this class. So we've taught it several times since then, understanding that we found out it was really a big need, and we continue to provide that training on budgeting and some basic household tasks and how to cook. The other one, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this when I get to Kara's portion of the annual report, was our food safety home food preservation classes. Those really increased with everybody gardening. More people wanted to learn how to can fruits and vegetables. In addition to that, our website really took off. A lot of people received our resources over the internet. We put up new websites, including remote learning resources and also resources for parents, teachers, and homeschool families. Rapid Response for Agriculture was really a program that started in late 2019 in response to adverse weather conditions for growers. And then when the COVID pandemic hit, we shifted gears on that so we could provide them with resources they needed to respond to the pandemic. Let's take a look at some of the numbers in Isabella County. 2020 was a year of change for us as an organization in terms of our reporting system also. So you're going to see some changes in what you normally get in an annual report. Also, when we went virtual initially, our educators didn't necessarily get all of the county data that they could have from the participants. Plus, it's really hard to track when they're joining us, on a webinar. And so these numbers we've estimated are low at about 30%. We've taken a look at numbers statewide, and then we looked at how many of them have a county attached to them, and we know that these numbers are low. So I wanted to point that out. The other thing I'd like to point out is when we talk about the number of programs, understand that our programs often meet more than once. They are series of 4 sessions or 6 sessions or 8 sessions or even more. So a lot of the people are served a number of times. They only were put into the system once. The other thing that happened was so many of our programs, we turned them into videos to be shown later, and we put them up on websites and up on YouTube. And so we've served a lot of people indirectly, and those aren't able to be counted here as well. In terms of budget information, the general fund contributions plus the office space provided by the county really leverages the work that's demonstrated in the left column. I've estimated a 1 to 3 return on investment for Isabella County. For every $1 Isabella County provides for MSU Extension locally, we bring in 3 times the amount in state and federal and grant dollars. I'm going to go over the 4-H numbers in just a minute. Wanted to show you the staff that are in the Isabella County office. Paul Gross, Kara Lynch, and Eric Karbowski are our educators or faculty, academic staff. And they do work in Isabella County and also regionally and statewide. Likewise, we have other educators from other counties and on campus that do work in Isabella County. Noni Gross is the office manager. Sabrina McGee provides nutrition education, and Christy Schreiber is our 4-H program coordinator. So here are our 4-H numbers. Isabella County continues to have a very nice 4-H program. Last year we had 660 youth enrolled in traditional 4-H clubs, and we served over 1,500 youth. And we can't do that without the large number of volunteers that we have. So a little story about 4-H, and I'm just going to read my notes here. When it was determined that fairs weren't going to be able to meet as usual, MSU Extension stepped in with a virtual showcase opportunity for youth. Within the annual report, there's a success story about Madeline Humphreys. But to summarize, at age 17, Madeline was all set to show at the fair for the first time. And she was so sad to hear that the fair was being canceled, but she was really excited when 4-H announced the virtual showcase opportunities. There were many programs offered for the youth in Isabella County last year. Another one I'd like to talk a little bit about is Ocean Explorers. Pictured here in the middle is Madison Dix. And Maddie is actually an educator at the New England Aquarium, which got shut down during COVID. So she was put on furlough. Her family are friends of mine. And I saw a post of hers on Facebook saying, I really miss teaching. I really want to teach all about, marine wildlife to kids. Does anybody have any kids they'd like me to teach to? So I jumped at that opportunity. I said, I've got a whole bunch of 4-H kids. So it turned out to be really a neat experience. Maddie put a program together. We advertised it all across our district and throughout the state. And in April, she took everyone through a day in the life of a giant Pacific octopus. And it was so much fun. She led a whole summer's worth of presentation on topics like electric eels, orcas, sea turtles, narwhals, seahorses, and coral reefs. And then the other really popular program in 4-H this past year, and I want to give credit to Christy on this, was Cooking with Christy. And she worked really hard at putting together cooking videos, and she just finished that class. And we're going to share more information about that in the next month. So in terms of agriculture, most of you know Paul. Paul is with us today, and Paul is a field crops educator, and he specializes in soil health. Eric Karbowski started with us 1.5 years ago, and he provides farm stress programs. One of the successes that came out of the pandemic in our area is the Field Crops Facebook lunch breaks. And you can see a picture of that. And Eric also sits in on those and provides a mental health minute each week during this Field Crops lunch break. Also during the year, one of the really good things that came about was a partnership with Pine Rest that provides teletherapy to farmers who are in stress, and they can do that out of the privacy of their own home. We received a grant to be able to allow that or to provide that to folks in the agriculture industry this past year. Sabrina provides nutrition education in Isabella County. Last year, of course, she had to move her whole programming to a virtual model, and she's continuing to do that. She's back in the classrooms virtually, but looking forward to getting back into the classrooms in person. And then just a little bit about Noni. If you've ever stopped in the Isabella office or made a phone call asking for anything from a soil test to any other information, Noni has been there to help you. And she makes sure she connects all of the people who want information with the right resources. And Kara is our food safety educator, and she provides food safety education across the district and beyond. And as stated earlier, we really saw an uptick in food safety education this past year. By having online classes instead of face-to-face, she actually increased her reach for food preservation classes by over 4,000%. And her program, Safe Food, Healthy Kids program for childcare providers increased by over 1,700%. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about Tegan Lafere. And Tegan is not in the report that I sent you. She isn't located in the Isabella office. She's located in the Clare County office. I believe she lives physically in Isabella County. Tegan provides education and support for persons who are looking at becoming first-time home buyers, are at risk of losing their home to foreclosure, need budgeting assistance, or are behind in their property taxes. She does a lot of programming. She serves a lot of people in Isabella County, and it's really important work. I wanted to make sure I mentioned her. So here we are in 2021, and we've already finished the first quarter, and we're still in the pandemic. I don't know what the future is going to hold for us. We are taking some baby steps back to get back into the office and to meet face-to-face with folks. We might even be able to do some face-to-face programming in small amounts as we move forward into May and into June and into the summer. I'd like to share a slide that has the list of all of we have an advisory committee for the district, and Jerry Jelasinski serves on it. I'd like to thank him for doing that. We have a commissioner and a representative from each one of the counties in the district. And I really appreciate the work that they do. We meet 4 times a year, and right now we're meeting via Zoom. So that's the end of my report, and I will see if there's any questions. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Does any of the commissioners have questions for Sherry or her staff? All right, Commissioner Engler.
Yeah, I just want to comment that I had the opportunity to attend several of the webinars that the MSU Extension put on, along with some other ones. And the MSU Extension webinar were a lot more interesting and well put together. So some of the other ones were quite boring, but at least the Extension I really enjoyed. So it's been a difficult year, but I still do enjoy the interaction meetings. But
yeah.
But hopefully we'll get back to them. So just a small comment.
Yeah, thank you so much. There's nothing like being face-to-face, and I miss being face-to-face with you right now, and I hope we can get back to that someday. Absolutely.
Any other commissioners? All right, I'd just like to thank Sherry and her staff for all the hard work that they do. Sherry, quick question. I know in other factors in the county, but you touched briefly on expanding in some indirect reaches out using YouTube and sources like that. Is that something you see going forward, maybe getting more of a message out, kind of indirectly doing that? I know we're going to, like you had mentioned, try to go face to face, but I think the more that you get out of these good programs, because like everyone always says, with 4-H and everything in the county, that does give the youth in our county some good direction. And is there things that you continue to plan on going indirectly like that, expanding upon that? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see us ever going back to the way we once were. As we move forward, you know, I think it's going to be a hybrid. And, you know, that whole story isn't written yet, but I do see us doing both. I see us doing a little bit of face-to-face. As I mentioned earlier, we're recording almost everything that we do. So we have so much more educational information that's available now for people to look at anywhere at any time.
Good.
And yeah, it's going to open a lot of opportunities.
Very good. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for your report. It was very informative. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great. Next up, appointments to board and commissions. We have nothing there. So next up is committee reports, Finance and Administration Committee. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First up, consider accepting and placing on file the March 18th, 2020 run routine personnel items as presented. And this was a very short one, just one step increase. Any questions from any of the commissioners on that? If not, then that item will move forward to tonight's agenda.
The next item is consider ratifying and placing on file the March 12th, 2021 invoice list in the amount of $74,340.25. The March 19th, 2021 invoice list in the amount of $381,473.04. The March 26th, 2021 invoice list in the amount of $174,072.43, and the adjustment list dated April 1, 2021. Going through the list, the first one is March 12th, a very short one. There's just two items that exceeded the $5,000 reporting requirement. And one is to Benford Land Services of $6,000 for the second installment on the 2020 delinquent tax title searches for the treasurer. And Highfields Incorporated, $5,850.88, cost of private agency youth services required by the courts and childcare. Moving on to the March 19th, and if there's a question, let's hear it. But we'll move on to the March 19th list. We have, again, most of these are very customary. We have Preston Community Services, $11,500 for the monthly equalization contract for administration. We have our County Council, Gold Stroker Trolsky, $11,242.03. And this is for a December through February legal services. And next one is hats. We have $5,961.54, which is the biweekly animal central contract through administration. We had integrated architecture for $207,000. That's the largest one on the list. $207,826.88, which would be the February jail architectural services for administration. Another one, Net Source One, $14,900.13. Final Next Generation 911 project payment for Central Dispatch. Procom, $6,350, and that was to replace two siren encoders for emergency management. I know these sirens are tested monthly, and they must come up with issues that have to be repaired. And Procom is, I think, the management firm that does that. Dell Marketing, $6,246.96, and that was for 4 laptop computers for the parks, and those were budgeted in the current budget. Speed Tech Equipment, $6,221.03, baler repairs for the material recovery facility. Finally, there's McBride Quality Care, $38,885.74, day treatment contract as directed through the trial court office. Any questions on any of those invoices? All right, moving on to our final list, which is the March 26th list. We have Manor Crustacean, $50,444, and that's the February financial services through administration. Michigan State University, $40,435.75, and that's the third quarter work plan agreement for Michigan State University Extension. City of Mount Pleasant, $5,000 is the amount we pledged to be a partner in the airport partner membership program that we approved probably about a month ago. Net Source One, $9,774, and that's to replace a net clock from the lightning strike. And I think there's probably various components, and they're probably coming in at different times, but that's one of the components that will be covered by our insurance. Michigan Election Resources, $12,541.73. That is for the printing of the May election ballots for the clerk's office. CTEC Equipment has another payment of $7,756.07. new sensor and slide magnet for the baler. Seems like that baler is costing us a little bit of money. It must be an expensive machine that keeps breaking down, but it's one of the essential pieces of equipment for the MRF. We have a payment to 11250 North Mission Road LLC of $10,913.15. That's a Michigan Tax Tribunal 2020 tax adjustment refund through the Treasurer's Office. And finally, we have a Terry Berra $7,806.06 for personal residence exemption denial refund for 2017 through 2020 through the Treasurer's Office. So any questions on any of those three invoice lists? Now we move on then to the adjustment list, which I was really surprised to see 2 pages of adjustments. Most of them are additional added invoices that didn't appear on the individual lists. So you can see quite a few of them again for Gordon Food Service payments. Additional check was added to gain an early payment. There's a number of them for governmental units that are receiving tax settlements through the Treasurer's Office. Critical Ford has a $61.92. It's just a decrease to $60.10. They try to collect sales tax on us. So that was corrected. And Frontier invoice increased to $802.96 for entry error by Central Dispatch. Again, there's another tax settlement for Union Township. That was the March 12th. Now the March 19th, again, there were some, all of them on the first page were added invoices to take advantage of early payment discounts or tax settlements to the Treasurer's Office. I won't go through the list, you have them before you. And you go to the second page. Again, you have Vernon Township, that's an added invoice for a tax refund of a drain township at large through the Treasurer's Office. They have several small entry errors shown. And finally, you have Consumers Energy added invoice to avoid paying late fee. It's interesting, these added invoices can be used to garner a discount and also to garner keep away from a penalty. The March 26th list. Again, we have 4 added for Gordon, 4 or 5 added for Gordon Food Service. 44 North had a decrease to 240 due to a vendor billing error. And Consumers Energy, again, is an added check to avoid a late fee. And cleaning services, $226.59. The invoice was voided because it had already been paid by a credit card to the parks. Any questions on any of the adjustments or any of the invoice? Which if there are, I'm going to turn that right over to Margaret to answer. Hearing none, we'll move that then to our tonight's meeting.
Okay, item number 3, consider approving the amendment to agreement for law enforcement services between Isabella County and Isabella County Sheriff's Office and Mid-Michigan College and authorize the board chair to sign the same. This is an agreement we've had for 2-3 years or so. I remember when we did this initially, but Mid-Michigan College wanted a couple deputies on their campus, a couple of part-time persons, and at the time agreed to pay them $17 an hour. This addendum to the agreement would boost that pay from $17 to $20 an hour, which I'm all for that. I think it's overdue maybe. No financial impact to the county. Mid-Michigan College pays for this. So any questions? Okay, hearing none, then that item will move forward to tonight's agenda.
The last committee item is number 4. Consider approving the WatchGuard 4 RE system quote in the amount of $90,838 for the replacement of 12 in-car video recording systems for the patrol units at the Isabella County Sheriff's Office and authorize the board chair to sign the same. We have Sheriff Mean present. Would you like to present? You do such a great job of financing your projects. So you should glow in this moment.
Thanks, Commissioner. So long story short, we've had a system in place for about 14 years. It's been failing us for the last few. It's hard to retrieve video from the system. A lot of the hardware is starting to fail, the mics, some cameras. We do have a great body worn camera project that the deputies wear, but the in-car is still a very crucial piece of our equipment. And it records the back seat. So if we're transporting opposite sex, or maybe someone's being out of control or violent or anything like that. So it's a good liability reducer for us. So long story short, WatchGuard, which I'm familiar with from working as a chief and shepherd at one point, I bought 2 of them for the new cars and they work great. WatchGuard has been purchased by Motorola. So that's good because our body worn cameras are through Motorola. The vault that we store stuff is there. Those things eventually will all link together, but we have tested that, the redaction for FOIA and stuff can occur with all of the safeguards in place when that occurs. So we've been working on this project for about a year and a half, trying to get funding for it. We were very pleased and very happy to see that we got an award from the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe for a little over $60,000. MMRMA, we were asking for a little more, but they came in at $12,000, which is great. We were extremely happy about that one as well. But that left us short a little bit. So I'm back to the table to ask for some of the money back that we sold our old cars, that program, and Margaret's talked about it, I think a couple meetings ago on the program and stuff. But we sold some cars here a while back and we totaled about $18,593. So we're asking to have that money reallocated. That is general fund money, but have that reallocated for this project, which would actually get us to the good of $192, which I'm not giving you much back. I apologize, but it does get us there to get this done. And we have one car that doesn't have a camera in it at all, one of the newer cars, and we really need to get our camera system back up and running. So that's my spiel.
Any questions? Jim?
Sheriff Maine, I think to point out, that's a very good job of getting different sources of funding and everything. And as we all see on television and social media and everything, the world is changing and it's been ongoing for quite some time. So any type of cameras that can potentially lower our liability, if there is any, is money well spent, I think. So I think it's a very good thing to upgrade this. And also too, it's a local Procom, and that's even better. So
the one thing I will add is we weren't sure, if the board would approve it. So I do not have a contract, but that is the next stage. I've asked them to start that process. So obviously we wouldn't want you to sign anything until our legal team has the time to review that contract. But we just went through one with body worn cameras from WatchGuard for our corrections program. So it should be a pretty easy sale for us. Once I get that in place, I will forward that to Margaret to push on to Commissioner Horton.
okay,
I did
so
learn
then,
some.
go ahead. I'm sorry. So what are we going to be signing then, Sheriff? Are we going to be signing anything this time, or just wait until you get your contract and then sign it? Is that what you're asking for?
Yep. I just want to know if the board would be willing to move forward with those funds to the cars. If so, my next step is to get that contract, run it through Mr. Tim Perrone, which is our legal counsel, our corporate counsel, and once he signs off, we get all the commas and I's dotted and T's crossed and stuff. Then I will forward that through and move on. So I'm not sure, Margaret, if the tonight would be pending the approval of the contract or something like that in the motion.
So the motion currently is to authorize the board chair to sign, and I wouldn't present it to him until it came back from legal review. So you can add that, we can add that to the motion if you would like, pending legal review. But what we don't want to have to do is wait for a couple more meetings to be able to sign the agreement when it comes through and is approved by council. So that's why I put in the motion tonight to have authority for the chairperson to sign it once it gets back.
As soon as our legal group looks at it, I don't have a problem with it. Commissioners do speak up. Otherwise, I think I'm okay with that. So
Thank you.
I did
Yes,
learn
I-
something at the committee. Just in case you ever find yourself in the back of a patrol car, you don't have to be informed under Miranda rights that you're going to be recorded. You have no expectation of privacy in the back of a patrol car. So don't say anything that would encourage.
Giving our secrets away.
Yeah. That completes that. We'll move that into the meeting tonight.
Mr. Chairman, that completes the work of the Finance and Administration Committee.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next up, Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
All right, Chair, our first item is consider approving the fiscal year 2019 pre-disaster mitigation grant program grant agreement in the amount of $37,875 and authorize the board chair to sign the same. And Director Griffiths is here to talk us through this grant agreement for money that will be coming from the 2019 federal fund.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner and chairperson, sorry, excuse me. The FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant helps us update our plan for the county, which allows us to apply for post-disaster grants and pre-mitigation projects all in one shot. Our community has benefited significantly by having a up-to-date plan. This is part of a grant that will allow us to look at a recruitment contract for a planner to run this project, and the county administrator would help us move through it. We would be able to, if we accept it, receive $37,875. We have a cost share in this of $12,625. As I've stated before, it's the only grant that I know of in emergency management that we receive a 4-to-1 return on match for every dollar as we go forward with this. We've done this a couple times in my tenure at this point to update it. It's a significant lift, involves a lot of people, and we need to keep this up to date so we can keep qualifying for other federal funds as it goes on. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Commissioners, are there any questions for Director? One question I had in subcommittee was about how the soft match is done, and because since I'm not a accountant or fiscal person, and so soft match is something that we meet through people's time working on this program, and anything that's not done through time would be a cash match. All right, no more questions. We'll move this forward to tonight's session.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 2 is consider approving Amendment 1 to the software license and service subscription agreement between Isabella County Central Dispatch and Central Square Technologies, LLC, dated February 1st, 2021, and authorize the board chair to sign the same. Basically, we've already approved the software agreement. What happened is when they started to do the CAD, the company Square Technologies needed some additional wording in there to do the CAD program. The budget was already approved to it, so there's no change there. We had legal go through it and look through it. They have no problem with it, so it's more of an agreement that they needed. If you can read what it is, it's basically, it's something, I guess, Commissioner Horton might know a little more about the lawyer ease up about it, but basically we've already approved this, so it's just cleaning it up so the company can go forward to complete the project. So Margaret, would you like to explain it further? Or?
No, I would just like to say that the company inadvertently left a section out of the contract is basically what it is. So it was known that that's what's going to happen. It was part of the billing. It's part of all the rest of it. But what was going to give them the real authority to kind of start forward, it had been cut and pasted out somehow on behalf of the company. So this is just fixing that. And as Commissioner Engler said, no change in the money, no change in the cost, no change in what's going to really happen. They just found a little myth now that they inadvertently left out. So our attorney is fine with the addition.
Okay, is there any more questions? Seeing none, forward to tonight. And that completes the work of the Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
Thank you, gentlemen. Under Human Resources and Public Works Committee, we have no business. And nothing under intergovernmental affairs, nothing under the administrator controller. Under item 8, unfinished business, we have nothing. Under 9, we have nothing under new business. 10 brings us to general public comments. Nicole, is there anybody on the line?
There is no one at this time for public comment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll just wait a few moments and then we will move into announcements. Okay, I'll close the general public comment section and move on to announcements. Commissioners, any announcements? Yes,
Hey,
Commissioner
everyone.
Hudson.
I got my first vaccine shot and looking forward to the second one.
Great.
Good.
Good.
Good. Any other commissioners? All right, hearing no more announcements on tonight, we will now move into closed session. Anyone want to make a motion to go into closed session?
I move we go into closed session, Marino.
Support Sweeney.
We have a motion and support to go into closed session. Do we get roll call, please?
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jelazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Moreno,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope,
Yes.
and Commissioner Horton.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, motion carried.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk. And we are now going into closed session. How do we?
So,
Go
I
ahead,
have
Nicole.
opened the breakout rooms now, and so you'll be asked to join the breakout room for the closed session.
All right, for all the commissioners, we are muted and you have to unmute yourself if you want to say anything, but I think we've already had our announcements. So Margaret, I cannot remember, it's been so long since 2 weeks, and that's 3 weeks actually, because we had a longer time in between. Motion for adjournment. I think I can close, or do I need a motion for this? I'm
You do
drawing a
not,
blank on this.
you can adjourn the meeting at the pleasure of the chair, or you can ask for a motion, whichever you prefer.
I'll be consistent. Let's ask for a motion for adjournment. Commissioners, anybody?
So move, Joe Lozinski.
All right.
Support Hope.
I got a motion and support to adjourn. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I oppose the same. We are adjourned.
Have a good dinner.
Forfeit.
See you shortly.
I will see everyone at 7. So.